I think 90% of the people who are actually wanting to chase freedom are chasing the illusion of freedom itself. Freedom will not give you happiness at the end of it. Freedom will give you happiness in the journey itself. A lot of times people ask me, what number should I have? And I tell people, see, if to quit one rat race, you're trying to get into another rat race, and that rat race is of chasing a fire number. And everybody is quoting a different fire number today. Somebody says 5 crores, somebody says 10 crores. Some people are saying that 40 crores is not enough. Now, if you're going to keep, those people as ideals, a lot of times you are never going to achieve it. Hi, I'm Amit.
Hi, I'm Aparajita.
And we have recently shifted from Pune to Dehradun. And we did that with 1 crore corpus as a cushion net that we had. And we were able to take this, big plunge. So to talk about life being different in Dehradun, in the summers, usually the days are pretty long out here, The day starts at 4:45 in the morning. I usually wake up at 4 o'clock. I have a coffee on the terrace and then I enjoy the morning views. After that, I go for a jog or a run or cycling sometimes. Life, frankly speaking, has been a little slow as compared to what it was in Pune. More quality time being spent as such. The meetings are mostly without an agenda. There, in Pune, we usually had an agenda or something like that. Here, we can just catch up with friends for probably just a coffee, just a casual lunch, dinner or whatever, or just a long drive or a walk, it could be anything.
Actually, पुणे में इतना टाइम नहीं मिलता था. हम 3 थे, तो मेरे पे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ बहुत थी उस टाइम. तो अभी जब मैं यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हुई तो मॉम की हेल्प लगी मुझे. मॉम है मुझे पता है कि बैक साइड मेरी मम्मी खड़ी है, तो फिर उसके टाइम मिलता है. अब सानवी स्कूल जाने लग गई है, तो वो टाइम मिलता है. मैंने तभी अपनी हॉबीज़ एक्सप्लोर करी. मुझे पता है कि अब मुझे क्या करना है, आई एम वेरी क्लियर. लेकिन पुणे में वो क्लैरिटी नहीं थी मेरे पास.
Instead of chasing those worldly comforts, here we don't really chase materialistic things, right? These small walks in the jungle, walks on the hills, the morning sunrise, the fog that we get to experience, the chirping of the birds, then the squirrels that we see playing in the courtyard. So all of these things are the small things that we are now trying to enjoy, and even Sanvi has started to enjoy. Right? So what happens with that is we don't really now have to start chasing something which is material. Like earlier, if it was, let's say, we used to go to a mall, and going to a mall meant impulse buying, spending on unnecessary things that you did not need actually.
Sanvi used to say कि जब भी शॉपिंग करने जाते हैं, anything she wants, मेरे पापा के पास बहुत पैसा है, वो देख लेंगे. That kind of mindset she had.
Right.
But now she had changed a lot.
And I think that is a major difference that we see here. We could just come here out in the nature, sit here, relax for a while, have a conversation, sometimes go to the riverside, make coffee. Now here, if you are going to a small cafe, a good place where you can enjoy the views, have a conversation, you could probably end up, spending like 150, 200 kind of a thing, right? Not more than 200 as such, right? So that makes a big difference in terms of, the value for money is much higher, right? Whatever small money that you would pay. It's not that we can't spend that much. It is just that, do we really have to spend that much? That's the question that we ask. I completed my engineering in 2002. When I was doing my engineering, I had realized that engineering is not my cup of tea. So obviously I had to do something different, and I was looking for options. So at that point of time, it so happened that one of my aunt was starting her consultancy into HR, recruitment primarily, and I started helping her. That is when I realized that, okay, HR is the thing that I want to pursue, and that is how I got chanced upon HR, if I have to really say that. The first job that I had was in Mumbai, and it was, at a very low salary of 10K. I was trying to get the experience, worked there for a good 3 years. Then I worked with big multinationals like Sintel, Wipro, Cognizant. Then I had a break in between after Semicron. That is about 7 years. I did my own consulting, stint where I was running my own company called as Synergist. And then after that, I again got into as a CHRO in IntelliSwift. And finally, I left my corporate career in 2022. My first salary was 10,000, and the time I left, it was around 50 lakhs per annum, the salary that I was drawing as a CHR. I will also want to mention here that in the first place, I was not really chasing fire because I did not know the concept in the first place. I came to know about the concept of fire only after actually firing, right? And that is, I think, what made the big difference. So 1 CR that I talk about is not a number that I chased. That was an assessment, an honest assessment that I did when I actually wanted to retire, as to how much do I have, will it be sufficient, and what are the other things that I can leverage on, right? So when I was doing that, 1 CR is the corpus that I have right now, but that is not a tap that I'm drawing from, right? And that is a big difference. Second, there is a house that I have in Pune which is giving me a rental income, and that rental income also I'm reinvesting, right? So that is a second part of the whole framework. The third part of the framework is that I am not working full time. I'm working at my will. I have got the freedom, and because of that freedom, I am actually investing my time in doing something more meaningful. And then money is a byproduct which is coming, and what we have started doing is focusing on things which actually matter to us. Now, these short walks in the hills, doing these short treks that we go for on the weekends, or probably you sometimes just go to the riverside, make some coffee, sandwich, Maggie or something like that, and spend some time there. These are small things which we have started cherishing more, and that has actually cut down our costs a lot. And because of that, I think because I was able to cut down the expenses by 70% as compared to what it was in Pune. That has also made a big change, and that is the fourth component to the entire structure that I have. So if you understand the structure fully, I think it will make more sense rather than saying that 1 crore you have retired with. That is, yes, the corpus amount, but there is a structure to it, and that it makes the whole difference as such. So most of my corpus is in the mutual funds, and it is equity heavy as such. Some of it is into my PF, which has been accumulated over the years. Some of it is in NPS, which I deliberately thought I should be investing in. And a lot of it is also in gold. So these are the 4 primary instruments that I have invested in. Apart from that, there is a small fund which I have allocated for my daughter's education as such. So these are the places that I have right now invested in. In 2013, I had painted a picture. That picture was very clear in terms of what is that I'm doing right now versus what is it that I want, and am I really doing or moving towards what I want in my life. So there was once when I had been on a trek to Everest Base Camp. We actually celebrated our 2nd anniversary there. And after the trek, right, it was an 18-day trek. When I came back to office, I was too lost, right? I was asking this question to myself that, hey, why have I come back? Why am I, back to the office? Why can't I just be staying in the hills, right? So that is something which was there all throughout, when I was doing that. Then I was also part of the learning and development team, and I got to be a part of the program called as 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the second habit is that you begin with an end in mind. So the trainer had asked this question: if you were a painter, what is the masterpiece of your life that you want to paint? And in 2013 is when I started to then very seriously think about that end in mind, begin with the end in mind as a habit, and started to look at painting a rough picture. And that is where I looked at, okay, what is the current situation that I have? The current situation is like, too much of mess, primarily because a nagging boss is what I had. So I was, going at 9 o'clock in the office. I did not know what time I was coming back. So all of this was kind of a mess. And on the right hand side, I drew a picture that I really wanted, right? So that was the starting. After that, I luckily had a mentor who, had got promoted 13 times consecutively in 13 years. And I said, okay, I need to connect with him. I need to talk to him. I need to make him my mentor. He gave me a framework of how to get promoted. The very next year, I got promoted. And the book that I wrote in 2020 is exactly about this formula or the framework that gets you promoted. See, for me, that promotion was not because I wanted to achieve something professionally, right? My always this thing was that I want to retire somewhere in the hills or probably the beachside or probably, live a wandering life. That I think was something which was very clear even at that point of time. The professional growth was just a means to an end, right? Because if I don't get promoted, obviously I don't get a fat pay. And if I don't get a fat pay, I will not be able to retire early. Getting promotion just to have a designation or just to have more money could satisfy you for the probably just that weekend. And I've seen this happening to people, right? In fact, I was one of them, right? What happens is, let's say when I had got promoted, I was very happy on Friday because Friday the promotion letter came, the increment, this thing happened, everybody congratulated. Monday when I went back, it was the same. No change. My designation had changed, the salary had changed, but there was absolutely no change in any of the things that were happening around me, right? And that's exactly what happens to people. When they get promoted on a Monday, they feel lost because nothing has changed. The same work profile most of the times, right? The same team that you are working with, no change in that, right? So structurally, nothing changes apart from just your designation. What happens is then you feel lost. Yoga, meditation, and wellness retreats are not going to solve that problem. Any business retreat is not going to solve that problem. What is it that you want to do? What is the kind of life that you want? Now, when you have answer to this bigger question, right, then there are tons of personal finance experts who will be able to give you a number and tell you how to work that spreadsheet. But if you start with a spreadsheet and start saying that this is the number I want to chase, then it becomes difficult. And that's what I want to take to the world. That is what myth that I want to really burst. I didn't really come from a background where, in my house, there was a lot of investments, a lot of, serious investments being done. Most of the times, it was more of FDs, more of, the traditional routes that, my father used to take at most of the times. So financially, if you have to really look at, I wasn't somebody who was built for finance in the first place. I used to not really understand the numbers as such. But when I started investing, I started it in the form of SIPs in the first place. First, recurring deposits in the first place, then starting to understand a little bit of mutual funds, how they work, what kind of things that I could invest in. So if I have to talk about the exact numbers, I make somewhere around 50 to 60,000 at this point of time. And my monthly expenses around 40-45. So I'm in a fair situation where I'm able to manage those expenses at this point of time without really, cutting corners or really having to, draw from my corpus. And the passive income comes from my rental income that is there, which is about 42K that I get. So roughly around a lakh is what I am earning as such. Now, I don't consider my passive income really an income because I'm straight away putting it into back or reinvesting it back. So talking about the property that I bought, in fact, I had just started my first corporate job and I was earning about 25K per month at that point of time. So my mom had made us purchase 2 flats. Now these 2 flats were amongst my father, me and my brother. So 3 of us were supposed to be taking care of the EMIs of these 2 flats as such. But let me also tell you that time period was not a very easy time period for us. And I say this because, when we had registered our flats, we had made the first down payment. After that, my father actually went missing. So what happened is suddenly, one pillar was not there, right? And what happens in such cases is that the accounts are frozen, and when the accounts are frozen, you can't access it for 7 years. So the government kind of declares the person dead after 7 years, and that is when you will start having access to the accounts. Now, I being the eldest son, what happened is that I suddenly had 3 EMIs to pay, and 3 EMIs were my 2 flats, direct EMIs, and the rent that I was paying because we were staying in a rental accommodation at that point of time. So 25,000 obviously at that point of time was not sufficient. and hence I took my first jump in a year's time. I moved to another organization. So I moved from a 25k salary to about 40k salary, and that just took care of these three things. But in a way, I always feel that it was a good decision at that point of time, primarily because if we had not taken or bought those flats early, um, I don't know if I would have been in a position to buy that flat and pay that kind of a high EMI that people have right now. Because at that point of time, that property was about 21 lakhs and 26 lakhs that we had bought. So there was a 2 BHK and a 3 BHK that we had bought. So my property currently is valued at about 1.5 CR, right? That's a huge jump that we have seen in the last 20 years as such. So I think it worked in my favor in a way. I also had those responsibilities very early on in my life. And I think because of that, I was able to see a lot of realities very early in my career. All of these things have been, has made me a better person, a resilient person as such. So these small things actually shaped my bigger decisions in life. And that is why when you talk about that 1 CR being enough, it comes from there. Because I don't really fancy a lavish bungalow or multi-crore, property. I don't want a sea-facing bungalow. These are not things that I fancy. What I fancy more is the time that I would spend with my family, with myself, with my friends as such. And those are the things or the moments that I cherish. And for that, you don't need a lot of money. If I am feeling bored on a particular day, if I call 2 people, everybody will be ready. In the city, that luxury is not there. Last year we went to Kedarnath just on a phone call saying that chal rahe ho? Haan chalo, chal diye. So these kind of random plans that you can make only is possible in such places, right? Why Dehradun? Because Dehradun I have been visiting because it has been my in-laws' place. And then when we were trying to evaluate where we are going to stay, this property or this house is actually my wife's uncle's place. Good 15 years, this was almost like in ruins if you have to really look at. This house was actually built in 1945. I said, okay, let's take the challenge. Let's see. We could probably give it 6 months to a year and see if it works for us. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then we still have an option to go somewhere else. So we started renovating this house. And when we started renovating this house, it was more emotional than just this thing, right? Because what happened is, as when we started doing things for the house, we started feeling more connected to the house. There are trees around. It is such a green patch that in the center of the city that is there. I wake up to the mornings where I'm able to hear the cooing of the koel. The squirrels are actually running here and there. Right? See, these are small things when you start observing in nature, right? Makes your life much more richer as compared to what it would be otherwise with all the luxuries that you have, right? And in fact, I proudly say that this is my private jungle. And who has the luxury in today's world to own a private jungle, right? My daughter was used to a certain lifestyle, but she adapted it very well. In fact, she video calls her friends and shows her house, and she says, I can run from here to there. You can't do that in your flats. I have such a big terrace where I can actually, go in the morning. I can run around. I can do, a lot of, things which you cannot do, right, in the city. So those are these little moments which make me feel that I have taken the right decision to be here. So a lot of people come back to me and say that, it was easy for you, right? And you are lucky that your wife's uncle allowed you to stay. So it made things very easy for you. And I will not deny the fact. I'm not saying that it definitely made it very easy for me. Obviously, because there is no rent, I just had to pay for renovation. And if this was not there, we would have still moved, but probably the expenses would have been a little on the higher side and all of that. I am not denying any of this, right? But I would also like to say that, see, there is some leverage that you will always have, right? It is just that you are probably not looking at it, or you have not explored it, right? Lot of people are actually focused on the problems. ये problem है, ये problem है, ये problem है. But problem का solution निकालना है कि नहीं निकालना है is a call that you will have to take in the first place. And then start focusing on the solution rather than the problem. And most of the corporates are actually focused on that. And that is why I get those statements a lot, that you were lucky. It was easy for you. But are you even thinking in those lines is the question that you need to ask yourself, right? If you ask the right question, try to look at what is it that you can leverage. It could be something else for you. I'm not saying the exact same thing will be there for you, but something else, right, which you could actually leverage on. Identify that and use that as a leverage to be able to, get to where you want to get to. See, one of the biggest advantages that I have is obviously I have skipped the rat race, right? So when I say that I got more than what a corporate could give, or probably a salary could give when I quit in 2022, is not money, not what people would actually think about usually. And the word, if I have to summarize it in one word, is presence. And when I say that presence is being physically present at the right time when it is really required for you to be there, right? And this, when I say it, is in terms of my mom. Like I told you already, that she was critically ill, her health was deteriorating. Rather than being in the office or on a video call or somewhere else at that point of time, I was physically present with her, taking care of her. And I also remember the last day when just before she passed away, right? She asked me for water. I gave her water, and she said that, I don't know, I think my time has come. I think that last glass of water that I was able to feed her with meant a lot for me, right? Because like I said, that presence, physically being there, probably that could have happened in a hospital and I would have not been there. Probably I would have always had that feeling that if I could have been with her. And today I don't have that feeling, right? That there's no ifs and buts, there's no guilt, there is nothing that I have as such, that I was not present at that crucial time when she really required me. So I think, that presence is more valuable than anything else that I got from the decision of quitting at that point of time.